Reddit has been lying to you. And if me saying that pisses you off, you need to listen to why I think that. One, the majority of Scarabs are not priced for tier 17s only a very small minority of them. Two, T16s are not dead content. You still can make a ton of currency from them and even compete with some T17 strats. Three, loot is not dead. Loot from some mechanics is dead. And four, T17s are not ruining the fun for you. Reddit and a defeated mindset is. Now this gameplay is from day 2 of the league, when I tried farming essences and red maps, and they were way too brutal and impossible even with crystal resonance. I'm flattered that some commenters in the last video think I'm some elite that can't possibly relate to a normal player farming. But none of the farms I did on League Start required some crazy knowledge or early adoption. I grabbed whatever random yellow maps that I had at the time, paid for essences on the map device, and sold them on the auction house, just like you still can to still make currency right now. This is how I got my early upgrades. This is how I got currency enough to buy more mapping supplies. And what I did was I upgraded my gear. I further invested into farming essences and yellow maps by buying some rusted essence scarabs, even though they looked scary, right? They were scary. They're expensive. Am I making my currency back? Well, here's what I did. I did it. And then I mapped it out and I was like, oh yeah, I did. Okay. And then what I did was I further invested. I bought ascent scarabs to make them all a tier higher, which made them a lot harder in the boss. In even yellow maps, a lot more difficult as well with crystal resonance. But I went from there. And I've grinded out all my currency. Now I'm able to, have fun and do whatever. And I didn't do like some crazy gimmick strat. I literally did like the broke boy method. The one I would recommend every broke boy to do, which is just do essences on a yellow map. I've got a comment here from my king, Niam24, in the last video that perfectly summarizes my feelings and is a great TLDR for the rest of the video. Thanks for posting this. This is what Reddit always ends up doing, starting from a week after the league launches. Some people bring up valid complaints and they keep circle jerking and escalating until a lot of people just make insane and patently false statements with nobody to go against the tide anymore. T16s are worthless now is especially insane to me. If you can't make currency doing T16s, that's fully a skill issue. T17s are harder than Ubers is another one I've read a ton that can only come from someone that has done neither. I hope at least GGG is able to filter out the awful takes and focus on the valid ones. Right now, we have a ton of valid complaints with 3.25, right? We have the state of T17s in Trade League. We have mechanics that don't have built-in loot rewards, which feel very unfun and have very little rewards to them. How much farming power is locked behind Scarabs? Shipments feeling a little bit stale with you only sending small little shipments frequently to get good results. I'm sure I could keep going on, but that's not the point of this video. There are a ton of valid complaints to post about and to advocate for, but when Reddit comes out with multiple, and I say Reddit, it's the community, right? This is our community too, comes out with multiple 1,000 upvote threads, right? 1K upvotes, quote, attempting to use the majority of Scarabs in T16 maps is flushing currency down the drain. The only explanation is that they provide value in T17s. 1.4K upvote thread, quote, Scarabs are priced around T17s and only really worth using in T17s. The worst part is, if you want to buy fun, it's priced at T17 levels. If you want to be an irrational actor in the market and play the game for fun, you can't afford to. You won't sustain your Scarabs in T11s or T6s. You won't, and you won't have enough income to make up the difference. Or random comments in threads that get zero pushback from anyone. This is a comment in a thread talking about Blight and the new Scarabs printing Blight maps. Why is that a good thing? I've been running Blight maps the past week and don't even pick up Blight maps. They're completely worthless. I have an entire tab of T16 Blight maps that are unsellable. Nobody wants these. They're priced at 5 chaos and they never sell. This is so laughably a lie. I don't understand how things like these, right? The posts or the comments don't receive any pushback at all from the community. It is boggling my mind. Even with the Blight maps, to prove it, I listed a Blight map for 5 chaos. I got 2 PMs instantly. Okay, because of course they're going for 9 and 10C right now, T16 blight maps. Like, it's just so insane that this guy is trying to pretend that you cannot sell tier 16 blight maps. Posts and comments like this are creating this aura of doom and gloom in the community, turning every post into a complaint, finding every reason for your lack of fun, except a little bit of effort into your gearing and your farming and your learning of the game. Everything becomes ruined. Not just a few mechanics or a couple scarabs, loot everywhere. Blight and Tujin don't make currency somehow. Red altars aren't giving much loot. Essences aren't even worth it anymore. And tier 16s are dead. You ruin all goodwill and credibility towards grinding gear. As much as you little memers might think, the devs are not idiots. They know the majority of scarabs can be used profitably, and that they aren't exclusively priced for T17s. They know you can still make a ton of currency in T16s, and they understand that the loot is dead meme is not an accurate view of the game. They know their game, and reading multiple 1,000 upvote Reddit threads with zero pushback in the comments will cause them to handwave any potential valid critiques as more unfounded complaining by players who are still learning how to map. These comments are so wholly out of reality, it boggles my mind. We have thousands of people brainlessly upvoting threads and comments which take so little time to provably refute. Even just logically thinking, there simply aren't enough people running tier 17 maps to be purchasing and consuming all of these scarabs. Many wouldn't even make sense to use in T17s. And we can prove this by just buying some scarabs and making currency with them, which is what everybody in my community has been doing, and a lot of others as well. Essence, Bestiary, Harvest, Breach, Deli, Beyond, Expedition, Stack Deck Farming, Harbinger, Legion, Blight, Anarchy with Titanic Farming, Ultimatum, and Ritual. To name just a few, these are all provably profitable with scarabs. Some more than others, of course, but none in a T16 map with scarabs will flush currency down the drain like Reddit would have you believe. There is one farm that I did in T16s that's now been priced to tier 17s, and that's Ambush. That sucks. I don't think it's good to have these like normal farms, right? Like opening boxes, normal farms be priced only for T17s, especially with the rusted scarabs. But that should be the messaging. Comments and threads should talk about that specific situation and how it sucks to have the rusted ambush scarab be priced, and because it is exclusive, right, towards these T17 farms, the rusted ambush scarabs, right? But instead of that, we have things like scarabs will lose you currency. Scarabs are priced around T17s and only really worth in T17s. Loot is dead in T16 maps. T16s might as well be white maps. The loot is all in T17s and Sanctum. It's absolutely disturbing. And then we have a bunch of people posting screenshots of the one map you did with altars that didn't give you that much, and the expedition you had that gave you only one exotic coinage. I implore you, community, you have to do better. You have to be better. Letting the community develop this brain rot of self-pity and sorrow, an unwillingness to even try to do better, to try and buy a couple scarabs, to try and make some currency, to wash your hands of your weakness and poverty is not what I want from my community. If you're poor, do me one favor. Destructive play, boss rushing on silo, right? Kill the extra bosses, leave before you kill the silo boss and he comes back down again. Or do yellow map essences with Kirak on the map device, like I did on League Start, for as many maps as you can afford, or for as many maps as you have. Sell them on the auction house. Buy some gear upgrades, or spam some essences on fractured bases. Farm and sell again. Invest with some scarabs. Farm and sell again. Buy some upgrades, and repeat. Stay off of Reddit. Stay in maps. Solve your problems instead of shifting the blame, and have some damn fun, because it is a video game. I do want to quickly highlight one nice little post. This is a screenshot of one of the very silly examples. Loot's fine, nothing wrong here. Now, if this was a post talking specifically about Wildwood, totally valid. Wildwood's an issue. Wildwood is one of the things that needs to be addressed. It makes the monster so much tankier, and it feels, even after their buff, like they still don't give any loot. Now, unfortunately, this post is nearly implying that doing 8 mod maps with red altars and expedition will provide you with no loot, right? That's the implication here. This isn't about, right, just the Wildwood. This is about all of this, and that is just absolutely silly. Every SSF player will gear their characters out. They'll just blast altars with expedition, altars with a mechanic. And this is how they get enough gear to do T17s, to do their Ubers, to have like these insane builds, right? Like even the hardcore people do this. How do the hardcore people gear their character? They can't do the T17s. They can't buy Scarabs. They're running maps and they're doing mechanics. Do not pretend like loot is dead, okay? Now, thankfully, some of the comments on the new patch, people are experiencing a little pushback now, right? 0 changes to loot when D4 comes out in 12 hours. Worst line, but still, the season compared to the ass fest we have is tempting. This post is a great example of things I would like to see more often. Things that are helpful, things that are constructive, right? If you, right, maybe some feedback posts talking about the Wildwood, and how, you know, we get some sample sizes, right? Like we get some testing, we get whatever. Okay, and more posts like this. The auction house made me realize I am a bad player. I'm not a new player. I'm not a very good player either. I've been playing since Betrayal League, on and off, playing maybe every other league. I was never really good at generating currency. My friends tried to help me all the time with Atlas strats and pricing things, but I never felt like I was making good currency like they were. They kept saying that making about 5 div an hour is very achievable, which was beyond crazy to me. The auction house changed everything. Now, I can just sell all my Scarabs, essences, oils, and currency in a few clicks, in-game and fast. I don't even care if I'm lowballing myself, because I can get what I want quick and keep playing. Suddenly, looking at a 10 div metacraft for my weapon, while still expensive, looks achievable and makes me excited to craft it. I'm slowly improving my gear on my own, and I don't need any help or hand-me-downs from my friends. For clarity, I was always aware of the trade site and third-party tools like TFT and Wealthy Exile. I wasn't using them because each had its own problems, and it forced me to step outside the game. So thank you, GGG, for the auction house that made me realize I am a bad player, but helped me improve so much. I wish this was the community right now on Reddit. I wish these were the majority of posts talking about how you can help yourself, how somebody can get currency, how you can easily get your upgrades with the auction house, how big a buff that is to new players. But instead, over the last week, it's just been this doom and gloom, these snippy little screenshots of the one map you did with red altars that didn't give much, as if pretending that expedition and red altars don't make currency, pretending that using rusted scarabs for every mechanic is priced for T17s, that we can't use any scarab at all, right? Pretending that if you want to have fun, that you can't, because T17s are the only place that fun happens, right? To pretend that you can't buy a deli beyond breach scarabs, a bunch of these rusted scarabs, add a ton of monsters to your map, get a bunch of XP, have some fun, right? Right, to pretend we can't do this still. It's just so silly. And gosh, I had to have a little video. I know got a little let the dog out a little bit, but I hope you listen. I hope you maybe learned a little bit. And geez, I hope that we can do a lot better as a community, policing some of the largest threads that we have, the public facing part of our community, our Reddit. Having posts like this is just such an absolute embarrassment. For real. Anyways, that's it. Peace.